Hello, my name is Nathan Shaw, and last summer I took the rocketry project. Now for the start of a project like this, you need to make sure they have a rocket. Now there's many different kinds of rockets and many different kinds of sizes. I chose a bigger one and a smaller one, but of course I chose this to show you since it's the more interesting of the two. This large one, as you can see, has triangle wings and a little bit of a square wings. The main different kinds of wings you can find will be square, which is not the best, but work if you don't have any swept fins. Now, swept fins are much better since they're more airline than square. But elliptical, to my utmost surprise, was actually best since most commonly you'd see swept fins on a rocket. Here is the building process. What I did is I used two pieces of wood at similar heights and glued together two wings to keep them at similar heights. Here, like with this nose cone, it comes in a one piece with the with the end and then the cone. What you do is you just simply cut it off, and then you have the two pieces to make into your rocket. And all these wings are simply glued on, and also these rockets tend to come unpainted, so you need to make sure that you paint them. And for getting your rocket into the air, there's many different kinds of engines, and I suggest you look at the kind of rocket you have so you get the right kind of engine. This is the engines, some of the engines that I do use for my rocket. The set will come with plugs, the boosters, and then chargers. These are what the plugs and chargers look like. Plugs will simply plug this charge, which is a flammable, just a little bit of flammable substance. When electricity hits it, it will ignite and shoot off the engine. What it looks like when it's plugged in is this. Now, when you put your rocket on your launch pad, what I suggest is you get a couple wood blocks so your booster is off of the ground, so you're not blasting directly onto the platform. And the engine, you need to make sure, especially with having the wood, you need to make sure that these two wires are not touching the pad or it could short circuit. And what you simply do is you take your controller with very simple but very effective ways of launching. All you need to do is plug in your key and start launch. Make sure you're pressing firmly down on the key, and then the light will tell you when you're ready to launch. You take these two prongs and then you connect them up to the wires for the booster. And then, as I just said before, we would launch off this booster. And an important thing to know, these remotes are built in with enough wire so you're a safe distance away. And when you're launching, always make sure everyone is at least 13 to 12 feet away. And I prefer to have at least a watcher and also someone to measure how high and how fast your rocket went. And of course, you should be watching it from the mission controls, I like to say, where you set up your controller. This is a standard base. You can find it in any hobby store. And the rocket will just simply go on like that. For recovery, after this rocket shoots up, most rockets will go in at an angle. And how the boosters work is they have a charge. When it's ignited, it will go up into the air and it slowly go down and then make a big poofy fan in the back. The engine will get charred and it will look like that. There'll be, as you can see, it'll be a straight hole straight through to the clay. And it will poof and make a very large, good sized explosion that will blow off the cone. And with a rubber band or whatever you have connected to your nose cone. And also you have a paper foil to keep your parachute from melting, and it'll blast off in the air, and you can hear and you will also be able to see that. And then as your rocket falls down, your parachute will, of course, spread out and slow down your rocket from falling. Now there's also two kinds. Not only do you have a parachute, but for some smaller rockets and especially weighted nose cones, you have a streamer that would look like this. They tend to be very bright, so it's easy to see in grassy fields or in dirt. Here is me on the field right there. I am currently rolling a streamer for my smaller rocket. Here I am checking the wind. It's always important to know the wind so you can estimate what direction your rocket will go, since your rocket's direction will be dependent on the wind. And there is me with all the equipment and of course with my rocket. And that I do it for my project. I hope you have a nice day.